Yo, yo, yo. This week on the X-Factor Sportz Podcast, what is the state of the WNBA? We got your NFL Week 6 X-Factors. And of course, what y'all came here to see, the real top 10 NBA players coming into this season. Keep it locked right here. Season 9, Episode 7 of the X-Factor Sportz Podcast starts right now. Yo, it's your boy Jay Mondane, episode 103 of the X-Factor Sportz Podcast. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We got a great show for y'all tonight. I mean, this is the best time of year for sports. Everybody's back. NHL's back. NBA preseason, WNBA finals, Major League Baseball, playoffs. Football is in full swing. You got college football. Everybody's playing. College basketball is around the corner. The best time of year for sports. We got a great show for you tonight. Like I told y'all, we diving into the NFL, Major League Baseball. We're going to see where I'm at with my predictions. We're going to talk WNBA. We're going to see where I'm at with that prediction. Then I'm going to give y'all the top 10 best players in the league, 1 to 10 this season. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the quick news. First thing I want to talk about is Major League Baseball. If y'all watching the game earlier, we'll start with the Tigers saving their season with the Mariners, tied that series up 2-2. So they go out to Seattle on Friday. I actually picked Seattle to win that series, get to the ALCS against a team that's playing right now. Actually, there's so many sports going on right now. 3 baseball games. I think the Cubs game is probably ending right now as we speak. But the Yankees and Blue Jays, I had the Blue Jays winning that series. And yesterday, Aaron Judge pretty much saved the season with that rally. So we'll see if they can continue to extend that series to 5 games. But I picked the Blue Jays. And then you got Dodgers, Phillies. Dodgers took 2 in Philly. Will they close it out tonight? We'll see. That's going to mess up my picks because I actually picked the Phillies to go to the World Series against the Blue Jays, but it's all good. So that's why we love sports. It's kind of unpredictable. It's great to watch, great to talk about. So we'll see how all of these things are going and move forward with that. So with the WNBA, again, going on as we speak, Game 3 of the WNBA Finals. Vegas is in Phoenix, the Mercury hosting, trying to fight for their playoff lives. They obviously don't want to go down 0-3. That's insurmountable. I don't know if anybody's ever done it in the WNBA. It's only been done once in the NBA in 2016, as y'all remember. So I picked the Aces to win the championship. I actually had them beating the Minnesota Lynx, though. Obviously, the Lynx lost to the Mercury. But I got this series going 5. I feel like this is the first WNBA finals, the first WNBA series in general to go 7 games. So I'm excited about that. Hope y'all been watching these games. A'ja Wilson doing A'ja Wilson things. I think she had 20 plus, 14 rebounds the other day. Jackie Young balling. So I think Phoenix plays with some pride tonight, at least in game 3 or 4. If they don't do it tonight, they're going to do it this weekend, but on Friday. But I feel like they will be fighting for their lives. Game 5, there will be a game 5. They go back to Vegas. I think Vegas closes it out there to win their 3rd WNBA title in 4 years. Sounds pretty dynastic to me. So we'll see if they can finish it off. But while we're talking about them in the quick news, makes this an easy segue, right? So we can just dive right in. Catch the X-Factor Sportz Podcast every Wednesday night on YouTube. And anywhere you like to listen to podcasts, you can always catch us. Apple Podcast, Spotify, anywhere you can listen. The X-Factor Sportz Podcast can be heard. All right. So let's go ahead and segue into the WNBA. And we're going to talk about the state of it, where it's heading, Are they headed for a strike? What's going on? Everybody's already heard about Nafisha Collier last week calling out the league, specifically the commissioner, Kathy Engelberg. So the question is, where are they going now? Right? She canceled the meeting that she was supposed to have with her. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and I was talking about leverage. So I'm going to give y'all both sides of what I think in terms of who has leverage, and then give you kind of my final thoughts on it. So from the commissioner and ownership side of it, their leverage is obviously they're the WNBA, right? They're the governing body. They have subsidized backing by the NBA. For those of y'all who didn't know that, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA, meaning any type of funding they need because they're not profitable, the WNBA backs it, almost like a cosigner. The WNBA cosigns the NBA, or the NBA cosigns the WNBA. All right. So they have that backing. They have a TV deal as well that they just signed, a big TV deal, because obviously the players and the draw that they're getting. So they are the ownership group in the collective bargaining agreement. In this case, you get to, as fans, we can choose which side we want to be on. Do we want to be on the side of the player or the side of the owner when it comes to collective bargaining, right? So the leverage that they have as an organization, the WNBA itself, a governing body, is that they can change the way the WNBA is played. They can change, like they have the power to obviously add more games, add more franchises, to have the possibility to generate more revenue. That's the stance that the WNBA has, that the commissioner has. For those of you who aren't familiar with what commissioners do for leagues, the commissioners work for the owners, right? To keep it short. Any type of administrative things that need to happen in the league, any type of disciplinary, any type of rule changing, any of those types of things that go on the growth of the league, the marketing of the league, taking it international, whatever happens as far as moving the league forward is the commissioner's job. The owners own the team, and because they're individual ownership group, they may have different views on things on how leagues should go. So a commissioner is kind of the person that they can go to have them agree on, this is what we want to do, this is how we move forward. They vote, et cetera, et cetera. The commissioner is kind of the figurehead or the voice, for lack of a better term, for the owners in leagues. That's what Kathy Engelberg is for the WNBA. Nafisha Collier has a problem with all of the above. How they do the marketing, where the WNBA is going, the consistency and the officiating, all these things. We talked about it last week in episode 102. So that's the leverage they have as an ownership group. The commissioner has the backing of ownership. Now, for the women that play in the WNBA, I think they have tons of leverage, right? Some people disagree with me, but I'm always going to be pro athlete, pro player, because they're the ones who we go to see. There is no league without the players. The owners have millions and billions of dollars. They own these teams. Cool. A lot of these owners own these teams just to have it in their portfolio. They're not even basketball, football, baseball people. And that's no knock on them. You got money, invest it the best way you can. And if you invest in a sports team and they generate revenue, cool. But none of these leagues exist without players. So therefore, I will always be pro player. It's millionaires fighting billionaires. I'm always on the side of the millionaire who's earning a living for a short period of time, because once these women retire, what are they going to do, right? They have to maximize their value in this window. That's number one. The reason they have leverage is because, again, they can strike at any time. If they feel like collectively they're not getting what they've asked for, or they're not happy with the conditions of their labor, they can just simply strike. It's happened multiple times in the NBA. So it's not unprecedented. They have the leverage to do that and shut the league down, right? And when doing that, this is the other hidden advantage that the WNBA has that the NBA traditionally does not have. These women play overseas when their season is over to earn more money anyway. Some of them earn more overseas than they do here in the States. They just prefer to play here because their family and friends can see them here. And their family and friends ain't going to go to Europe, Russia, China to watch them play, Australia. But in all actuality, they make more money. There was a season where Diana Taurasi didn't play in the WNBA. The WNBA was going to pay her, I think, close to $900,000. The Phoenix Mercury specifically, because that's who she played for her entire career. They were going to pay her $900,000, I believe, to play one season. Her team overseas in Europe, who she won multiple championships for, said, "No, we'll pay you $1 million to not play because we don't want you to risk injury," right? So they can go over there and get the bag. It's just the sacrifice of leaving your family for 6 to 8 months or however long they play. So I would say leverage players on that side. If they all just collectively say, we're going over there, obviously the rules still apply in terms of foreign players. Some teams you only get 2 or 3 foreigners. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that, Americans are foreigners overseas. So when those teams only can get 2 foreigners to play on a roster or 3, that means if you're in Germany, right, a Russian girl is a foreigner to Germany, just like an American or an Australian or a Chinese woman or an African woman. They're foreigners to this German team. So only 2 or 3 foreigners can play on a roster. These countries come to see their countrymen and women. So there is that aspect, but the WNBA has the best women's players in the world, bar none. So I don't think the top players will have a problem going over there. The ones that elevate this league over here won't have a problem going over there and playing and making more money. So the players have that leverage of not playing at all, right? The TV deal. WNBA just got a TV deal. And if you don't have any players, what are you going to do about this TV contract? You will lose hundreds of millions of dollars that you desperately need to keep this league afloat, right? It happened in the 60s. Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, Oscar Robertson, all these guys, Jerry West, they were looking to get an agreement as well for the players. They're the reason that NBA players now have a collective bargaining agreement. It didn't exist before. And healthcare and all these things that the players reap the benefit of post-career. There was a strike that the players were going to set, and they had all the leverage because ABC just made a TV deal with them in the 60s. And the All-Star game comes up, right? So Bill Russell and all these great players are in the locker room, and they're threatening not to play. And ABC at the time is talking to the NBA saying, you can't even get your players to play in an All-Star game. How are we going to give you a TV deal? Players had all the leverage. And so what happened was the players played in the All-Star game, but the NBA said, okay, by the end of the season, we will cut a deal with you guys. Come play in the All-Star game. And so they did. Fast forward, here we are today, collective bargaining agreements, insurance. Players are being taken care of to some degree because of that day. We're getting to a point, we're getting to the precipice of that happening in the WNBA. People forget the WNBA is very young, right? It's been around for less than 30 years. So the things that we're seeing in real time and thinking that's weird, why is this happening? These same things happen into these other leagues that have been around for 50, 75, 100 years. It's just the WNBA is younger. So they're about to get to a crossroads where the WNBA has to decide how important their players are. And I think it's getting to that point. So what Nafisha Collier is alluding to is we are the players that make this league up. It isn't just one person, right? Collectively, we are elevating the league. And the players from college that are coming in are helping elevate and push this game forward, just like any other sport. that started out from nothing and 30 years later became something. So the women have the leverage in that regard of a TV deal was just made. If they don't play, I'm sure all these TV networks are going to be like, you can't even get your women on the court. How are we going to give y'all a deal? Right? History repeating itself. So the women have leverage there. The women can go overseas and play if they want. Right? So to me, in the end, with all of that, do I think a strike is imminent? I don't think it's imminent, but if Kathy Engelbert doesn't figure out a way to compromise with the women of the WNBA, the players, the coaches, to help grow the league together, either A, she's going to be let go and they're going to find a different commissioner, or there will be a strike. And the crazy thing is, if the strike comes first, she's definitely out because it happened under her watch and it could have been avoided. So we'll keep y'all up to date on that. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Are we getting close to having a strike or a new commissioner in the WNBA? And we're doing this all in the midst of the WNBA finals, and they have a collective bargaining agreement coming soon. So y'all let me know what y'all think of the state of the WNBA. All right. Again, the X-Factor Sportz Podcast is on YouTube every Wednesday night. So be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. And always check the reels on social media. And then if you listen to the X-Factor Sportz Podcast, you can do that anywhere, any platform that allows you to listen to podcasts. All right. So what y'all came here to see, all these rankings are coming out about the NBA top 10 players and who's going to be good this year and all that. So here on episode 103, we have the real NBA top 10 players coming into this season. This isn't based off potential. This isn't based off any of that. And if I'm being completely real with y'all, because that's what we do, we real talk unbiased takes. If Jason Tatum was not hurt, a lot of these dudes will be scooted down because he's top 5. So once y'all see this list, you'll understand what I'm talking about, who would be bumped off it. All right. But without further ado, we're going to get into the top 10 NBA players coming into this season. Okay. So I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about it. At number 10, we got Jalen Brunson, New York Knicks guard. I think he's one of the best point guards, best guards in the league, especially in the Eastern Conference. They have an opportunity this year to win the Eastern Conference. Again, I just alluded to it. Jason Tatum is out for Boston. They basically blew up that team. They have no more Kristaps Porzingis, no more Drew Holiday. So that lane is wide open. People will talk about Philly, the same talk we get every year about Philly. Philly fans starting to turn to Cowboy fans, talking about this is the year. You can't get Joel Embiid to play in 5 games in a row. You can't get Paul George to play in 8 games in a row. So I don't see a path where the Philadelphia 76ers are competitive, let alone relevant, to compete with the New York Knicks. You got Orlando. The Miami Heat always play tough because that's just the Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley way. But the Atlanta Hawks are going to be sneaky good this year, right? The Pistons, you can't forget about Cade Cunningham and the crew. So Cleveland, of course, should be back with a vengeance. Indiana may take a step back with no Halliburton. But in terms of individual play, Jalen Brunson has played himself into one of the 10 best players in basketball this season. And so for that reason, I got him at number 10. At number 9, a oldie but a goodie. All right, Kevin Durant going to Houston. I think he's the 9th best player in the league right now. Coming into the season, he'll come in healthy. He's going to be the answer to the Ime Udoka playoff question. When the games are tight, when we need to get a bucket, when we go through all these lulls, who can we get the ball to, or what can we run to get somebody a good look? And Kevin Durant is arguably the most efficient basketball player we've ever seen, certainly the most efficient player of this generation, Mr. 50, 40, 90 himself. Kevin Durant at number 9. Now, it sucks that Fred VanVleet got hurt. I won't say that he's out for the season because it's an ACL. The way technology is now, guys come back from ACLs in 6 months. So by playoff time, we may see Fred VanVleet. I think the Rockets can make the playoffs in the West. But I think Kevin Durant, still one of the best players in the world, coming into this season. He's a top 10 guy. I'm excited to see what he does in Houston. At number 8, LeBron James. I was finna say episode 23. Season 23. I've told y'all a bunch of times, I think this is his last season. He just hasn't said it yet. But if it's not, cool. He's still a productive player. The IQ alone puts him top 15. And then he's still able to be productive on the floor. Is he good defensively anymore? No, but who would be at 40, 41? But his IQ, you have to play him. Situational basketball. He knows the other team's plays before they even run him. He's very essential. Other teams still have to key in on him. He's still on the scouting reports. He still elevates his team. So for that reason, I got LeBron James at number 8. At number 7, I know, right? Back to back to back. So before I even get into Steph Curry being number 7, I just want to say this. This is the end of an era, right? Your James Hardens, your Stephs, KD, Bronze, Kawhi Leonards, Westbrooks. Like, this is an end of an era, okay? These guys are about to start fading out. They're in year 17, 18, 19. Chris Paul, year 20, 21. They're going to start fading away. And make sure y'all appreciate what we're watching, okay? I had the fortunate ability to watch Jordan, Barkley, David Robinson, like the original Dream Team guys in their prime. I'm old enough to have watched them in their prime and watched them retire. And then I was able to watch the new wave, Shaq, Allen Iverson, T-Mac, Vince, Kobe. I was able to watch that wave come in, Tim Duncan. And then I was able to watch them sunset and come out. And then your LeBrons, D Wades, that group, Melo, all of them come in. And then as they all kind of faded out, LeBron still standing, he stuck around with the Kevin Durant, Steph, Westbrook, James Harden wave. And now all of them are kind of riding off into the sunset together. I say all that to say this. Appreciate watching these guys play great basketball because it's changing. Is it changing for the better or for the worse? We will talk about that once we get into the season. I will tell y'all my state of the NBA in weeks to come. I'll let you know what I think the NBA is turning into. So I say that just to say appreciate what we're watching now. These guys are still great, but they're on the back end of their career. So I got Steph at number 7. Simply because he's still unguardable. You still have to watch this dude in year 17 from half court. The way he spreads defense, the way he changes the way you play basketball, still effective. He's still one of the most effective basketball players ever. Even with Clay leaving, they still are talking championship expectations with Jimmy Butler now kind of rejuvenating them and is there for a full training camp and a full season. Steph's still one of the top 7 players in the NBA. And at number 6, so you'll understand why I said enjoy what we have now, because we're segueing into a new generation. And this is going to be the kid that ushers in this new generation. He's going to bridge the gap between the guys that are currently in their prime and the guys that are about to retire. Victor Wembanyama, okay? I'm not making him a top 5 guy yet. He's only in year 3, and he was hurt last year. And if you know me, you know when I talk about players, I don't start evaluating until year 3 anyway, right? I need to see full NBA seasons, training camps. I want to see all the bumps and bruises, the growth, all that. Grow into your man body, all those things. If y'all been following Victor Wembanyama in the offseason, this guy, you talk about dedication, all right? Not only did the Olympics make him hungry in 2024, But this past summer, I mean, this dude is out with Buddhist monks all the way to KG, like every different spectrum of focus and intensity that you could ask for from being a great player. Wembanyama is just scratching the surface. I think he's 20 years old, maybe. Can't even get in the club yet. But Wembanyama, if he is healthy, he will be on MVP votes. He will be on Defensive Player of the Year votes, all NBA votes, all-star team votes, steals, scoring championship, like any type of statistical category he can be in, he will have the ability to be in, right? So having him at 6 is, it's not disrespectful. Obviously, he hasn't played enough games, but I think he's exactly where he should be. He is going to be better than the guys that he's in front of, but he's not yet at the level of where the guys that are ahead of him. And so for that reason, I got Victor Wembanyama at 6. At number 5, and these are the guys that are entering or in their prime and are the next wave, the new generation of the NBA. Anthony Edwards, all right? He has matured on the basketball court. He's become a more efficient player. He's become more hungry. He's going deeper and deeper into the playoffs. And I think he's starting to understand winning more. He wants the individual accolades. He's openly said it, and I love that he does, because a lot of these guys be fake and acting like they don't want these accolades. And he come out and straight tell you, look, yes, I want to be the MVP, but I understand what being the MVP entails. We need to win, and I got to score a lot of points, right? He makes no bones about it. But he understands his role on that team. His team needs somebody to go get buckets. And he says, I'm that guy. But he also understands that they need to win too. And that's the maturation process. And so I got Edwards at number 5 because I think he's ready to lead this team to the next level in terms of team success. Okay. Getting into the playoffs and actually being favored to win series, being favored or looked at to get to Western Conference Finals and go head-to-head with the top guys in the NBA. I think he will be ready this year for that. So I got Edwards at number 5. At number 4, this guy, Slim, Luka Doncic, I got at number 4 coming into this season. I think this is your league MVP, right? Barring injury, of course, all these predictions. But I think he's the league MVP. I've never seen anybody transform their body like this before that fast. Because if you look at April and May, he was out of shape. He probably was even, I won't use the word depressed, but he was definitely unhappy with what happened with the move from Dallas to LA. Like, he didn't feel at home. He even said it. Like, I finally get to go and lay in my bed when they went to play Dallas. So I think getting over all of that, and then obviously the criticism of his play and his shape and all that, to go home this summer, recalibrate, get in shape, and play in the World Championships for his country, revigorated him. So I think he comes back into this season on a tear. I feel like with new ownership coming with the Lakers, with Jeannie Buss selling majority of the team, JJ Redick, the new head coach, I feel like they sat him down and said, the keys are yours. The LA Lakers is your team. We're going to set LeBron up to sunset gracefully like they do all their stars, but it is your team. And I think he is finally going to be comfortable in a full training camp, a full season of getting healthy or off season of getting healthy, getting in shape, and actually playing real basketball in the summer. I think he comes in ready to go. Luka can average 35 a game this year, and I wouldn't be surprised. So at this point, though, I have him right now as the number 4 player coming into this season. And the reason is because the other 3 guys have proven it consistently over the years, including last year. So at number 3, I got Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. I think, unfortunately, what happened to Damian Lillard, that whole project trying to put that together in Milwaukee. Didn't work out. But I think Giannis, for a couple reasons, Giannis is going to be top 3. One, he might want to get out of there. So he understands value. And if he's going to leave the Milwaukee Bucks for whatever team, that he needs to go out and perform. He got to show his ass this season for sure. So because of that, I think Giannis will go crazy this year. He doesn't have to defer to anybody. Chris Middleton gone. Brook Lopez gone. Everybody's gone. Drew Holiday been gone. Dame gone. Right? You got Miles Turner and some other guys, some young guys, but he don't got to defer to nobody. So I think he finna go crazy. They got him playing some point forward as well, Doc Rivers. So look to see Giannis have crazy numbers. If you in the fantasy basketball, make sure you draft him number 1 because he probably finna go crazy this year. Either him or Luka. All right. So I got Giannis at number 3. Also, I was talking to my barber, right? And we was talking about who we think would be a good fit for Giannis if he leaves Milwaukee. And then I said, if we're talking about from a marketing standpoint, the Knicks. All right, you get Giannis in Madison Square Garden, easy. It makes so much sense. But then my barber, shout out to Terry, 2 Sharp Cuts. He was like, no, Boston will probably be the team. And I'm like, Boston? Huh. I wonder what made him think Boston. And so we talked about it. He was like, look, Tatum is out. So this year, it won't, not this year going to Boston, but next season. And he was like, with Tatum out, you want Jalen Brown to go crazy, build his stock up, build his value up, right? He's got a $300 million contract that he into. They can get that off the books, get Giannis over there, and then he comes back and plays with a healthy Jason Tatum. He's in a big market in Boston, right? I was like, okay, that checks all the boxes. Like the salary issue, the big market issue, you playing with another superstar next season, and they get off of Jalen Brown's books. So salute to my barber, Terry, for pointing that out. So that was a great call. Again, we real talk unbiased takes. So I got to give credit where credit is due. That was a good pick. He would look good in Boston next season. So we'll see how that goes. But for today, I got him at number 3. All right. At number 2, the reigning league MVP, the reigning finals MVP, the reigning NBA champion, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I've watched this kid since Kentucky, and he's worked his butt off. I'm talking about from the Clippers essentially quitting on him. You trade a guy in his first 2 years of his career, you can say whatever you want. You quit on this guy. And for him to become what he has become is a great testament to players actually working on their game, getting better, getting stronger, getting smarter, understanding how to win, and getting to that mountaintop. So shout out to SGA. I think he will be the number 2 player. The only reason I say he's the number 2 player is because the number 1 player has been the number 1 player for multiple years, and ain't nothing really slowed him down from being that night in and night out. And it's Nikola Jokic, which I'm sure ain't no surprise to anybody. This guy has 3 MVPs in the last 5 years. He's got a ring himself. He can be a 50, 40, 90 center if he wanted to be. He can lead the league with a triple-double if he wanted to at center. I think he did last season. A center with a damn near 30-point triple-double. Nikola Jokic, every player, everybody that watches the NBA and not just the highlights can see he's the number 1 player in the world, and he's the number 1 player in the league. So that's my top 10. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I have Brunson at 10, KD at 9, LeBron at 8, Steph at 7, Wemby at 6, Ant-Man at number 5. I had Ant-Man at 5. We had, I can't remember, Luka at 4, Giannis at 3, and then we had SGA at 2 and Jokic at 1. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this top 10 list. Who am I missing? Who should be on? Who should be off? Please don't tell me Joel Embiid. The dude don't play basketball no more. But according to the top 10 that's on this list, I think these are the 10 best players coming into the league. All right. The X-Factor Sportz Podcast. Again, you can always catch us on YouTube every Wednesday night, and anywhere you like to listen to podcasts, you can check us out. Cool? Okay. Let's switch gears. We got big football games this weekend, NFL Week 6. We're going to get into who the X Factors are going to be. And when we do this, we always do this with primetime games. So that's your Thursday night football, which is tomorrow night. That's your primary noon game on Sunday, and then your afternoon game, your 3:25 game, your Sunday night football, and Monday night. We talk about who the X Factor is going to be. If the team were to win, who would stand out, and what that player will do to get this team to victory. So without further ado, we're going to get into the X Factors for the NFL Week 6 of the season. And on Thursday night, we got the Eagles playing on Thursday Night Football, and Devontae Smith is going to be the guy. All right. This week, I think when you talk about wide receivers and who's getting the ball, A.J. Brown's just not getting the ball. Devontae Smith has been Jalen Hurts' most consistent deep threat, his third down threat. This is the guy he loves. They're going up against the Jets. And all this talk about how good the Jets defense is supposed to be, they're last in a lot of categories. And I think when you talk about how the Eagles lost the game and how they've been playing these last 2 weeks in the second half, to be honest, like they haven't been pushing the ball down the field. And I don't know why. I think they make a statement on Thursday Night Football against the Jets, and Devontae Smith is the reason why they win. And I got him as my X Factor on the Thursday Night Football game. On Sunday, we got Jacksonville and Seattle. And shout out to Jacksonville for a huge win on Monday night against the Chiefs. They're 4-1. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars look good. But the one thing I see in their defense, they got a nice little front four, but I got Kenneth Walker III coming in as the X Factor in this game. I know they got to travel across country again, because I actually picked against Seattle a couple weeks ago, coming across country and winning a football game, and they actually did it. But they come across country again in hot Jacksonville, and I think the way you keep this team tired, the way you keep this defense on the field and in that Jacksonville heat is by running the ball and controlling the pace of the game. And I think Kenneth Walker will be the X Factor for that in this noon game on Sunday. So give me Kenneth Walker III as the X Factor on Sunday, Seattle versus Jacksonville. In the 3 o'clock game, I think it's 3:25, that's going to be a good game, actually. I'm going to tune into that. 49ers in Tampa Bay. So San Francisco got to come cross country, play against the 49ers. But in this game, this guy's been the X Factor all season. I'm sure Baker Mayfield is happy he's healthy. I know Mike Evans been battling some injuries. I know Chris Godwin been battling injuries. But this rookie, Emeka Egbuka, I got him on my Dynasty League. I'm so glad I drafted him first. This kid has been balling out of control. He catches everything. I think against this 49ers defense, he's going to be a problem. Emeka Egbuka, I got him as the X Factor in the Sunday afternoon game against the 49ers. They're at home. Again, 49ers traveling across country. We don't know if we'll get Brock Purdy or not. On the offensive side, their defense is banged up. I don't know if Nicky Bosa is going to play. So give me Emeka Egbuka in this game to dominate the San Francisco 49ers. All right. Then in the Sunday night game, again, the Chiefs had a tough loss on Monday night in Jacksonville, and it doesn't get any easier because they get the Detroit Lions coming into town on Sunday night. And if you've been watching the Chiefs during this dynasty, they've always struggled against dynamic running backs. And it doesn't get much more dynamic than a Jahmyr Gibbs, right? If only Jacksonville ran the ball more with Travis Etienne, we would have saw that. But I just think this defensive line is not as good as they should be, meaning the Chiefs. Chris Jones, I don't know what's happening with him. He's had a couple of blunders in these games. And the way that the Detroit Lions are playing football right now, it's unexpected for me. I thought they would take a step back, but they average damn near 45 points a game on teams now. And the Chiefs defense doesn't seem to be able to stop anybody, especially the elite teams. So with that being said, Sonic and Knuckles, give me Sonic, give me Jahmyr Gibbs having a game Sunday night in Kansas City. And then the Monday night game, Chicago looking to go to Washington, hopefully get their revenge from last year's Hail Mary, which they played them after the bye week last year too, which is weird. And last year we were 4-2, and we went into this game, and then that Hail Mary just killed their season. They then went on to lose 10 straight. Hopefully the same thing doesn't happen this year. But give me Caleb Williams to get some revenge, all right? He's coming off a bye week, plenty of rest, and then they don't play till Monday. So they had a long bye week, a long stretch, a lot of rest, a lot of preparation to get ready for this game, right? We don't know if Terry McLaurin is playing. We don't know if Jaden Daniels is healthy. He's going to play because he played last week. But I'm looking for the Bears to come out on prime time and have a great game. I wish I could see it. I'm going to be in the air when this game going on, so I may be able to watch it then. But Caleb Williams, I think Caleb Williams comes out. He had a lot of time to watch film, to spend time with Ben Johnson after seeing a sample size of 4 games, to correct some mistakes, to shore up some things, and to capitalize on the positives that he's had, because he's playing good football. But I think they come out against this Washington team, and he shows what a week and a half of preparation can give you. So give me Caleb Williams as the X Factor in this game. All right? So that's what I got for my X Factors in week 6. We got Devontae Smith for the Eagles, Kenneth Walker, running back for the Seahawks, Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver for Tampa Bay. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, running back for the Detroit Lions, and then, of course, Caleb Williams for the Bears. So if you got any of those guys on your fantasy football team, lock them in, because I think they're about to ball out this weekend. All right? So the X-Factor Sportz Podcast, again, on YouTube every Wednesday night. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, check us out, and you can always listen on audio. All right? Before we get out of here, we got to hit y'all with that 2-minute warning. And I kind of alluded to it on social media. I think I'm going to start doing that now, just kind of teasing on social media what the 2-minute warning is going to be about. And this kind of hit me this week. And we're going to talk about basically our future, right? We're going to talk about the children of our future and raising these babies and raising thinkers and how that's going by the wayside, okay? So with social media, AI, tablets, video games, phones, all these things, it's essentially a lazy way of raising the youth, okay? Parents, y'all can take this any way y'all want, that's fine. But in reality, let's just keep it real, we stopped raising our kids to be thinkers. And I don't have any children, but I was a child. So I always hate when people say, you're not a parent, so you don't know. I was a kid, and I was raised by a thinker, and she raised us to be thinkers. And that's what it was back in the day. It was like your uncles, for those of you who are watching, if you grew up in a neighborhood where it was almost like it takes a village type of neighborhood. I grew up in that type of neighborhood. No, the parents in the neighborhood couldn't give me a whooping or nothing like that. But if they saw me do something, they could tell on me, right? They could tell my mom. So there's always eyes around in adults. And there's always questions. There was always people getting us to think, like, what should you do in this situation? Why are you doing that, right? What are you going to do if this happens? Critical thinking. So I always tell Miss D, common sense ain't common anymore. It should be called uncommon sense, because what we're dealing with today is kids don't have common sense because they're not taught to think. It's just easier to give them something to look at, or give them something to divert their attention, or have them look on an AI platform to learn. as opposed to using the strongest muscle in their body. And that happens at a young age. So when we look at sports and you look at these players doing things that people didn't do back in the day or making bonehead plays, it's because, or give it to y'all in a different way. When you see the athletic player and they come out as rookies and they look great, they're bigger, stronger, faster than everybody. And then once they get to about year 7 and 8 and that athleticism starts to dissipate, the game passes them by. You understand why that is? It's because they weren't taught to think the game. It's the same thing in life. If you are not taught how to think your way through life, life will pass you by. And that's what's happening to the youth. They're not being taught to think for themselves. They're not being taught how to think critically. They're not taught to learn how to think through situations, right? How to have dialogue even. And that's what I think is happening, unfortunately. And we need to get back to raising the youth on how to think. Not just think for themselves, but how to look at the world holistically and think of alternative views, right? Because that's what society wants. They want a group of people that don't think for themselves because they're easier to control. All right? So think about that moving forward. When you have someone under your wing, or if you are in a position of leadership, try to teach them how to think for themselves so they don't become crippled and are forced to follow somebody else's lead because they can't think for themselves. All right. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to the X-Factor Sportz Podcast, episode 103. This is season 9, episode 7, if you can believe that, man. 103 episodes. You can catch all of them on YouTube. Again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight on this episode. If you like the gear, I threw on one of the old school shirts this time, but you can always click the QR code. You can hit me up directly on DM if you follow me on social media. Let me know your size, your color. We can get that out to you. We got hats too, and we can get those out in gray and black. The X-Factor Sportz Podcast has always got the gear for you. Again, thank y'all for tuning in. It's a great episode. We had a lot in here to cover, of course, because sports is back. Super excited. We got so much going on the rest of this season. I can't wait to talk about all the sports, all the things next week. We're going to obviously talk about who won the WNBA Finals by the time we get to next Wednesday. We're going to talk about who's in the American League and National League Championship Series next week. We got more football. We're going to talk college football next week. We got a big weekend. Hope my Illini can hold up against Ohio State. We'll see. This is Jay Mondane of the X-Factor Sportz Podcast. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Peace.